Hello, YouTube land, and welcome to the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast, episode 64. 5 to go for the Big 6-9. I am your host, Dantes, and of course, joining me, like always, Caleones. How you doing, Caleones?
Hey, how you doing, Dantes? How you doing, everybody? And I guess we're gonna have a pretty interesting discussion. I don't know if it's gonna be one-sided, if we're all both gonna be on the same page, how we're gonna look at this. But there's some pretty big news that they were rumored, quote unquote, this past week. How true it may be, we're not exactly sure, but of course we're gonna run with it and speculate, how true they could be or what it is that we could be expecting from it. So I'm really, really excited for it. So go ahead, Dantes, and take it away.
Well, let's start the show quickly so we can move along, like Caleones said, with the big news. But I want to welcome everybody to the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast, episode 64, right here at the Force In Unison gaming channel. Please remember to subscribe, like, comment, and hit that bell so you can make this and him, Crazy MFs, happy. Also remember, you don't want to see ugly faces, Caleones, right? It's all good. We got a solution for you. Let's go to SoundCloud and iTunes and download this podcast for free. Read us over there. You can share the love. Also, description box below, peeps. You can see the full channel schedule. Tomorrow, PlayStation Monday. We'll see if I play Spider-Man tomorrow. Of course, I will play Spider-Man tomorrow. I don't think it's a big a big secret. Anyway, Facebook page at Force In Unison Gaming. And finally, Dantes says finally, go to forceinunison.wordpress.com and get some clicks and love to my boy Caleones. With all that said, are you guys ready? I said, are you ready? Yeah. For the no one in attendance and the 13 people watching around the world, let's get ready for Reggie's Hot Topics of the Week.
My body is ready.
My body's ready, and Caleones hit it off with the big rumor going around in the corners of the interweb.
Well, and this is coming straight from the Wall Street Journal. Basically, they said, and I quote, suppliers and others with direct knowledge of the plan have told the Wall Street Journal, in this case, that we can expect a revision of the Nintendo Switch as soon as summer 2019. Exactly what the new model will entail, they didn't exactly say, of course, since Nintendo is very secretive and usually things like that don't really come out. But Dantes, this is a new, the rumors of the Nintendo 2.0, Nintendo Switch 2.0. How believable is it, and what can we expect from it if it were true?
Okay, so let's start with a couple of things. I want to split. I still recovering my voice. I want to split this in multiple group sectors of the internet. A lot of people kind of fell in a camp in a way, right? There was one group of people who were really excited about this, and they were saying that we were gonna get like the Switch Pro, Switch X, Switch 4K, however you want to call it, right? There was one camp. They were like excited. They were happy. They're ready. It felt like they were ready for a Switch 2.0 or a Super Switch or like a new generation. It felt that way. I don't know if you feel similar, Caleones, but that sector of the camp felt that way. There was the other sector, but we were like, what the hell Nintendo's doing? It's too early. Why in the hell they want to do this? They're going to alienate their fan base. They're going to split the fan base. Okay? That was the other sector. There was one sector saying Nintendo needs to a revision because they're getting hacked and they need to upgrade the Switch so they can stop the hacks that's going on. Okay? Then there was the other sector saying, well, I think it's normal. See the Nintendo history with handhelds. You saw with the DS to the DS Lite. It's just probably a hardware revision. It's not gonna be a huge, out of the park big deal. It's just gonna be a new Switch, probably streamlined, probably more efficient, probably more cheaper. Because as you guys know, as you go into the console generation, you're gonna get cheaper parts. So I'd say I split all the people, unless Caleones, you have one more people that I'm missing, one more crowd in this discussion?
Well, probably the crowd that say Nintendo's going to come out with a console more powerful than the PS5 and Xbox One 2. So yeah, but
I think
don't
they
even
fall
yeah
they
that's
fall in
fairy
the
tales.
4K group, right?
But those are fairy tales. So yeah, just give your impressions of it. I'll go ahead and chime in and also try to set expectations for everyone that heard about this news and may be overly excited for what's really coming.
Yeah. So I'll say this. So that's why I wanted to split the camps first and say, where do I fall? And I'll let Caleones see what camp he falls. I fall in the camp that this is just a planned hardware revision. Again, like the DS to the DS Lite, or maybe like the DS regular first DS into a clamp design. But sorry, a Game Boy Advance into a clamp design. That could happen. So you're gonna get probably a new Switch that is gonna have minor revisions to it. Maybe it's gonna be more efficient. Maybe it's gonna be smaller. Maybe they're gonna change the Joy-Cons, because I also heard that they have like a lawsuit going on with Joy-Cons. I don't know if that's gonna make them change their Joy-Cons, but I'm just saying that there could be many reasons why they'll do a revision, but it's just gonna be a simple hardware revision. Do not expect the Switch 4K. Do not expect a Super Switch. Do not expect that you're gonna get a new generation, because a lot of people felt like, and they got really excited, like we were already getting a new console generation. Peeps, the Switch just released like a year ago. I mean, March of 2017 was the release date. So a year and a half. That's it. We're about to get into 2 years. I don't think in 2 years you're jumping into a new generation. You guys need to stop the excitement, because what you're going to make console makers be is they're going to turn gaming into phones where you will be upgrading consistently because, people want just more power, more power, more power. And we need to settle down. Console generation should at least minimum last 5 years, because that's what you expect when you buy a console generation. I'm old school. Yeah, you can have a better revision like the Pro and the X did, but Sony and Microsoft did it right in the sense that they did not let the original owners of the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 behind. You can still play all the original games in those consoles. That is a little bit more acceptable. Even though I'm not super acceptable about it, that is still a little bit more acceptable. If Nintendo go in and make a Super Switch, right, I do not know that they be able to bring their old games in more. If, like some people were talking, they're gonna change, they're gonna go to a Tegra chip 2.0 and stuff like that. I'm like, guys, a Tegra chip 2.0, wow, you take it easy. You're not yet there. We're not there yet. So my point to all of that is that the expectations need to be lower. You guys cannot be excited, so much excited about something like this, because that's going to hurt in the future consoles generation. If you're really that excited, if you really care that much about power, you're in the wrong, you're a fan of the wrong company, because Nintendo have never cared about power, honestly. And you're better off just buying a PC. Just buy a PC. Honestly, you can upgrade all you want. You can get all the performance that you want. You don't need a Nintendo Switch in that case. So anyway, I wanted to lay that out. Now, the people were saying, oh, this is the end of the world. Nintendo, I hate you. It's not a big deal. If it's just a revision and they're not leaving people behind, who cares? Who cares? They're just streamlining the Nintendo, probably make it a little bit more comfortable, make it a little bit more smaller, make it a little more efficient. Because, again, you guys have to remember, consoles get cheaper during the years. They can find better parts. They can make it more efficient as the console goes through. In 2 years since the Nintendo Switch has released, it's already make a lot of advancements in that console. They're probably Nintendo saying, okay, we need a revision. We can make it this way or that way or that way. Make it more comfortable, X, Y, and Z. So, no, it's not a big deal. You have your Switch. You bought your Switch. You don't need to buy a new one because Nintendo came out. Like Nintendo in the 3DS, they had the 3DS. Then they had which was the first 3DS, and they had the other 3DS, which was the XL, which admittedly the bigger screen was enough for me to go and trade in my 3DS and buy the new 3DS XL, Caleones. But admittedly, what I did smart is I traded in, I got $200 back, and I only spent basically $100 for the upgrade, right? Getting the bigger screen. And then I did the same thing for the 3DS XL with the new 3DS XL. Again, turn over the 200, the console, got $200 back, bought $100 more, and spend, the difference of getting the new and why I wanted to do that, because I wanted to support Xenoblade Chronicles on the 3DS to show some love. Again, I'm a huge fan of that franchise, as Caleones may know. So again, not a big deal. If you don't wanna buy it, you don't have to. It's an option that you can have. If you wanna upgrade because you feel that the modifications on the Switch is enough, okay, do it. That's fine. If the Nintendo Switch comes out, the new Switch comes, and it's a 1080p screen, and you say, I need a 1080p screen, that's your decision. If you want to trade your Switch at that point, I think 720 to 1080 on that small screen is not going to make a huge difference for me to go and upgrade the Switch. Now, if a Switch Pro comes out somehow, and you can still play all generation games and new generation, and you have a little bit more on the console where I can sustain 30 frames per second, or I can get more 60 frames per second games, I may think about it. So again, it's still what matters to you, but you don't have to go flat out and just buy the Switch. Again, trade it in on GameStop. They do all those offers all the time when a new iteration of console comes in, and then you can get it back. So basically, that's it, what I wanted to say. I'll let Caleones, I've been talking for a while. I'm already losing my voice a little bit, so I'll let Caleones talk. But Caleones, well, what camp you fall, and you have anything to say to the other camps that were going ape shit on the internet?
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and address a couple of things that were said on here. Well, first one, Toys and More Club saying that, that they should appreciate how good, we look today. That's, probably because we took a shower, before the video.
And shaved too.
So that's, and shaved as well. So, but yeah, that's like Linky, or I'm sorry, Pretty Not Pretty. She said that what should be fixed is the controller problem. If they did that, great. And what she's, Pretty Not Pretty is talking about is that sometimes on the controller, on the Joy-Cons, the button stays pressed in a way that your character moves by itself, and that's on, and I don't know if it's on certain games or not. I know that it happens a lot on Fortnite. They've said that it does happen on other games as well. So that's certainly one of the things that that should be fixed. When it comes to the redesign though, you were talking about the 3DS, the 3DS XL, and the new 3DS. Okay, so going from the 3DS to the 3DS XL, fine, bigger screen, yes. But when it came to the hardware inside the system, it was still the same. So they didn't really make any changes. It didn't really affect the game or how how they look, how they played. None of that. When they went from the 3DS or 3DS XL to the new 3DS, then yes, that's when it really did affect, because you had games like Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, or you had games like Legend of Zelda, the Warriors game, which were exclusives. The Fire Emblem Warriors, Fire Emblem Warriors game, which were exclusive to the new 3DS version and could not be played on the other 3DS. So yes, that's when you start breaking up the camp of what players are able to play certain games and which ones are do not. And I'm pretty sure that's something that Nintendo doesn't want to do 2 years into the lifespan of a system. If people do remember, when the 3DS came out, it was back in 2011. When the new 3DS came out was in 2015. So that was a 4-year gap in between both of the systems. And that's what I feel about the Nintendo Switch. If we're going to see something like that, when Nintendo's going to start breaking up, the people that may be able to play a game and others that may not be able to play it, then it probably would happen 4 years after the release of the Switch. It's not going to happen 2 years after the release. So what are we going to see this coming summer? If the rumors are indeed true, then what I would expect is a better screen. We're probably going to get either a clear screen. We might get it, changing over from a 720p to a 1080. Like you said, the screen is 6.2 inches big, so the difference is not really going to be that noticeable. Maybe a brighter screen with better colors would make a difference, but going from 720 to 1080 at that size is not really going to be noticeable. Probably something else that they could improve is the battery life. So they may improve the battery within the system and give it, instead of up to 3 hours of game time, they may be able to increase it to 4 hours, 5 hours, or something else. And I believe that one of the things that could be holding back certain applications like like the Netflix, the YouTube, the web browsing, could in turn be the battery life, and it could also be how much of the operating system is being used by those applications, because Nintendo doesn't necessarily want to make the system run slower. So I really do not expect a Nintendo Switch 4K. I don't expect the Nintendo Switch Pro. Maybe they could come up with the Switch Mini, which is one that we've been talking about, because if we, as you know, and everybody knows, next year is when Generation 8 of Pokemon is gonna launch, and that's a pretty big deal. A lot of adults play the game, but a lot of kids play the game, and Nintendo may be wanting to come up with a smaller Switch system, so so kids, it will be easier for them to carry it and things like that. So, um, I do not expect this to be an increase from 4 gigs to 8 gigs of RAM, from 1080p 60 frames to 4K or something like that. This is not going to happen. That's not what's going to happen in the summer of next year. If it does, if something does happen, it will be a change expected to be on the screen, expected to be on the battery life, maybe a smaller version of the Switch, a more portable version of the Switch, but don't expect there to be a big jump of the current Switch over to the next one, because you don't want to split the fan base in between what games they can play and which ones they cannot. So, yes, it is. There is, there's reason to be excited. Change is always welcome. You know how people lose it every time they announce a new, console version with, or the Pokemon Let's Go Nintendo Switch version, or the, the Super Smash Brothers Ultimate Switch version, and things like that. People get excited about those things. So of course they're gonna get excited about, like a Switch 2.0 coming out. But temper your expectations. Don't expect Nintendo to be going all out on a new Switch. If they do, it's probably gonna be in 2020. It's probably gonna be in 2021. But it's not gonna be in the summer of 2019.
I agree. The only thing that I will say though is, expect a new Switch, a powerful Switch, faster than normal. I think this console generation for the Switch is only going to last 4 years, because in reality, Nintendo was catching up because of the failure from the Wii U. So to me, that a lot of people put the Switch like in the same generation as the PlayStation 4 and Xbox, because it was basically this Nintendo tapping out and saying, look, this did not work out, and we need to get a new console as soon as possible out there, right? So I would still say, though, some people still say that the Switch is a new generation. I don't know. I that fight I haven't had like a side yet. I haven't picked a side. But I understood why Nintendo cocked the Wii U as soon as possible, because it did not sell. Pure and simple, right? Xbox did it too, guys. So the only thing is, if Nintendo wants to keep third-party support, they better have a new Switch, like our minimum around 2021 or 2022, because the new consoles are gonna leave the Switch behind, and it can affect Nintendo a little bit. So I do expect this generation to be short. But this is the new Switch already, the new powerful Switch? No, it's not. And more so that the new PlayStation and new Xbox hasn't come out. Why does Nintendo feel like any reason to pull a system out, even though they did state that Microsoft and Sony are not competition? But we'll get to that one later. But why does Nintendo feel like they need to pull a new Switch out when your competition still haven't moved on to the new generation yet, right? We don't know their plans. If Nintendo's smart, they're going to wait. They're going to wait until the announcements, what the specs of the new systems are, right? And then they're going to come back and analyze and say, when is the right time for us to pull a Switch so we don't a new Switch, we don't stay behind. So this expectations that you go, oh my God, you're going to get a new Switch next year, a new Super Switch or a new Switch generation. It's, guys, it's like Smash excitement. You need to simmer down a little bit, just a little bit. So anyway, I don't know if you want to add anything else. I don't have much to say aside from temporary expectations. Take it easy. This is not a big deal. And also, don't blow a gasket and be all mad about it either. That crowd, too, was a little bit overboard. So, not a big deal. But anyway, kind of anything to add before we go to the next topic?
Well, I mean, not really. It's like I said, it's way too soon for something like that. I mean, if we were in, let's say, winter of 2019, and then the rumors started coming out about a new Switch version, then yes, I mean, we're probably gonna take it seriously, because like I said, 2020, 2021, that's when I would expect something to be in the works and coming out. And like Dantes said, I mean, Nintendo really wants to wait until like they know about the other systems. And like I said, like he said, we're gonna address this on the next one, and how Nintendo really sees them despite of what they say. But yeah, I mean, don't like temporary expectations. Don't really expect something big right now. Nintendo, yes, they're always working on the new system, and I guarantee you that they're already working on the successor to the Switch, even if it is the 2.0 Switch. But to say that they already know what specs it's going to have, what things it's going to have, no, they don't know that. That's not set in stone. But every company is always working on the next version of their system. So this is something that they always do. But if it's something where it's already set and going to manufacturing and being built, it's not going to be a big jump from the current Switch to the next one. It's just going to be, either cosmetics or fixing certain things. Maybe even Nvidia having the the updated chip on the system, maybe something like that. Even though it's not going to be a big jump on the quality of the games and how they run, but it's something at least that's going to help regardless. So something that small could certainly happen, but yeah, don't think that it's going to be something big. We're still 2 years out from something like that happening.
Okay, just to close before we go to the next piece of news, Dick says it's so that they are ahead because the Wii U made them get held back. That's why they're making it so early. That Dick's basically saying that comment is that, the Wii U held them back. The Wii U was a failure, and they have to pull it early. I agree. That's what I'm saying. That you could say the Switch is part of this generation, not the new generation, right? This is a real console from Nintendo. But at the same time, I would say too that that's why Nintendo would be smart to wait and see what the Xbox and PlayStation, what the specs are. Because then Nintendo, again, they don't play the spec game, but they want to make the console cheap and portable. So then they're going to ask themselves, what is the lowest specs that we can get away with and get third-party support without breaking the bank and having a portable system that is doable? Basically, that's what Nintendo, to me, is going to say. And to me, the Switch is too much a success to not continue with a Super Switch or something to that extent. This is, to me, the first time since the NES and Super NES that Nintendo has a runaway success, and I know you Wii is in there, but I'll explain why I don't feel the same way. The Super NES is really an extension of the NES. It's just a more powerful console with great games. They wanted to improve upon them. You can see an RPG like Final Fantasy 1 compared to Final Fantasy 4 or 6. That's a huge leap between NES and Super NES. So the Switch and the Super Switch, whatever they call it, it is an extension too, which means the Switch was successful with hardcore gaming. You just need more power now. Make it portable, make it easy, make it flexible, make it comfortable. Make it in a way that is also a powerful tablet so you can have other uses like multimedia, the next one. And now you're talking about something that you can get more into the casual market. The reason I don't put the Switch in that and the Wii U is not an extension of the Switch because the concepts were totally different. The concept of the Switch, of the Wii and the Wii U are totally different. And two, the Wii is an SD console that Nintendo was too hard-headed instead of increasing the power a little bit, so do at least some HD graphics because it's so sad. It's really saddens me that the Switch was a non-HD console because they had a lot of games in there that they look really good in HD. And the Wii U was a tablet concept. It was kind of like the prototype for the Switch, right? So they're two different consoles. But to me, the Switch is too much of a runaway success. They just need to next Switch to be just an extension of that with more power, more features, and a competent online. That's going to make them success to me in the next console. They don't need to break. Nintendo, listen to me. You don't need to go and do something different, something crazy. You have the blueprint. Just extend and expand and improve upon it. My opinion. Anyway, with that said, Caleones, go to the next piece of news because I think it's going to get interesting in the next one for sure.
Well, the next piece of news, this comes directly from the horse's mouth. In this case, we're talking about Reggie Fils-Aimé, and he said specifically that he doesn't see Xbox and PlayStation as direct competitors to Nintendo. Okay, so this is where I guess we could, certainly say that it could be, like CEO speak, Nintendo of America speak, or how you don't really want to say that, you see a direct competitor or anything like that. How, what the reality really is. I think that, beyond Dantes would think differently from what was really said. But Dantes, tell us about what Reggie said and tell us about what you think the reality behind those words are.
So I'm going to say something else too because I forgot to put it in the news. Reggie also stated this week, and we'll talk about two pieces of quotes. He stated this week too that the reason Nintendo uses an app for online chatting or voice chat is because Nintendo likes to do things differently. And that was basically the quote. So basically saying, we like to do things differently. I think he could have expanded a little bit more and say, for the Switch, we want to keep the OS, clear, or something like that. It could have gone a little bit more in depth. So Reggie this week gets the stupid shit executive says of the week. All of them do it. Let me clarify. I don't want to shit on Reggie. All of them do. There've been a lot of dumb quotes from people like Ryan from Sony and Greenberg from Microsoft. They consistently say dumb quotes, and it happens. So I'm not gonna blame Reggie. Reggie's job is to sell you the Switch. The only thing that I will say is that you need to improve the messaging a little bit. Now, going back to what he stated about Sony and Microsoft, they don't see them as competition because they compete. The exact quote: they compete for time. Time is competition, like movies and TV shows and stuff like that. That's what they're competing against. So the only thing I'm going to say, he says this because, he doesn't want to go into, how he sees Sony and Microsoft. He just wanted to shut down the question as soon as possible, in my opinion. But, of course, Nintendo sees Sony and Microsoft as competition. There's no denying it that they see them as competition, right? If they didn't saw them as competition, right, Nintendo could have kept doing the Wii U. They could have kept low sales, but they were selling their first-party software, right? Here's the problem. They're also competing with mindshare. They're competing with the mindshare of the gamer. So a gamer like me, right? I come home. I don't have much time to game as I used to. I admit it, right? I have to say, I'm going to play PlayStation 4 or Switch. Those are my two main consoles. No denying about it. So I have to split between, okay, I'm going to play Spider-Man or I'm going to play Xenoblade Torna The Golden Country, right? And then what I did, I beat Spider-Man. So by that time, while I beat Spider-Man, I wasn't touching the Switch. I'm done with Spider-Man. Got the plat. I'm playing Torna The Golden Country. So right now, Sony's on the side. I'm not playing any games from Sony. And yes, competing with time because now I'm picking Xenoblade Torna, The Golden Country, as my main gaming timing now. But at the same time, while I do that, right, I'm playing. Sony is thinking, competition-wise, this person is not engaging with my console. This person is not buying my games. This person is not playing the next PlayStation game they play, and vice versa. I mean, I'm a Nintendo. I'm playing PlayStation. Nintendo is saying, this is not what the crowd that we want. This person just buys our system for their exclusives, which I do. I'm not gonna buy a third-party game on the Switch. It's not. I have nothing against it, but the only reason I buy a third-party game on the Switch if it's portable makes sense, which is important. I'm not denying, and if of course the plat situation, because if it's a plat that is achievable and I don't have to kill myself, I'm gonna do it in PlayStation, pure and simple. So there's competition. They know that. And if there was no competition, right, Nintendo would not try to innovate as much as they do because they're trying to gain that mindshare for the gamer. They're fighting for the time, yes, but they're fighting against time between the Xbox and PlayStation. Because, again, a gamer, when they select that time, Reggie, when they select, I'm going to play now gaming, and if it's a gamer, and a lot of them are like that, it's a multi-console gamer, they're going to have to pick, am I going to play Xbox? Am I going to play Steam? Am I going to play PlayStation? And I'm going to play Nintendo. I'm telling you, in a day there's only 24 hours. You won't be able to play all the consoles at the same time. So in my case, even though I have Steam, even though I have Xbox, my main two consoles are PlayStation and Nintendo because I don't have the time to play that amount of games. My Steam backlog is crazy, Caleones. Crazy. But I haven't touched Steam barely this year because I don't have the time. which is sad because I had a lot of games in there that I want to touch them and play, but I just don't have the time. So again, it is a competition. I'm sorry, Reggie. You need to do a little bit better job in respecting your competition. I'm sorry to say that. And admitting, and how you respect them is admitting that they're competition, but how, like a PlayStation, like Shuhei Yoshida, that's one of the few executives that are really good people. He comes and straight out says he loves the Switch, he respects them, and he says that Nintendo is critical for the gaming industry because it brings new players to the ecosystem where they start young, they build up, they grow older, and they say want to stay into gaming. Then they go PlayStation because PlayStation is more of an older type of console or crowd, right? That's what. So Yoshida knows that Nintendo's a competition. He has stated as much, but he says they're critical part of the ecosystem for gaming to grow. That is respect, Caleones. And I think Reggie will go a long way just admitting that Sony and Microsoft are competition. And thanks to Sony and Microsoft, they make them better because they want to try to win that time for the gamer. Anyway, anything to add on that, Carlos?
Well, I mean, like you said, if people don't think that Sony, that Microsoft, that Nintendo, that they're not tracking how much time people spend on games, how much time they spend inside those games. They're already tracking how many copies are being sold, how many of those are installed on the system, if it's physical, if it's digital, and with third parties, of course, they're tracking which ones, what consoles, prefer to buy their games, so they know which ones should be supported and which ones should not. That's why we always hear things like, Capcom is using Street Fighter 2 as a test for Nintendo to see if they buy it, and they can, they'll bring more games to the system. Oh, we're seeing Bandai Namco testing, Dragon Ball Z, Xenoverse 2 to see if, people buy it, then we'll bring, they'll consider bringing more games and blah, blah, blah. So they're already seeing that. But when it comes to Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, I would venture to say that as soon as those systems connect to the network or connect to the internet, the systems already track how much time you're spending on playing certain games. It tells you, you can go there and you can see, okay, so you played X amount of time on this game, you played X amount of time on this game, and I'm pretty sure that information somehow gets to those companies so they know what games are being bought, if people are spending time on those games, whenever there's a new update, how many people are going back to play the game or spending X amount of hours. So they track all of that. They know all of that. And they always compare to the other companies to know what type of games people prefer to play on their system versus the other ones. So that's always a competition. And like you said, companies are always competing for your attention. They only have X amount of times in the day for your attention. And Reggie, he shouldn't really say that Xbox and PlayStation are not the competition, because they are. So is smartphones are competitors as well. That's why you're seeing Nintendo games on smartphones now, because they see that as a crowd that's kind of like going away, because smartphones games are taking gamers away from consoles, so they're going into that to kind of like pull some of those gamers back into the Nintendo console. That's one of those things, and you're seeing it with Pokemon Go and the Pokemon Let's Go version, which is a more friendly version for the Pokemon Go players to come to the Nintendo system, get reacquainted with Pokemon, and then staying there. So they're always competing for attention. And yes, Xbox and PlayStation are competitors directly with Nintendo, because especially when it comes to home consoles, like how many other home consoles exist out there currently? Only the PS4, the Xbox One, the Nintendo Switch. There's not really any other ones, unless you're talking about the like the classic consoles or the 4-in-1 or the previous year's consoles, which they still count, because there's still more. I would venture to say there's more PlayStation 3s out there than PlayStation 4, and they have their internet subscription. They still buy things in there. Same thing with the Xbox 360. There's still people, millions of people that have the Xbox 360, and they still buy games and things like that on there. With the Wii U, that's not really the case, because there's not many Wii U owners out there compared to the 360 and the PS3. So not only is Nintendo competing with the current generation, which, quote unquote, current generation, with, if you call the PS4, the Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch, but they're still competing with the previous generation, which they absolutely lost because the Wii U was a catastrophe. when it came to like console sales, because they went from over 100 million Wii consoles to just about 13 million Wii U. That's a decrease of basically 90% of the total sales that they had on the Wii. So yes, it's always going to be a competition. Yes, they're always going to look for for things to look better. When the Nintendo did the Switch Online, yes, they were looking at Xbox Live and they were looking at PSN for certain things, which is why I'm still kind of angry that they didn't include certain things on there, which seemed like no-brainer. Another one that kind of seems like a no-brainer that they still haven't done is like the achievements or trophies. That still hasn't been implemented. And I know how competitive gamers are, that if you put those things on there, it would automatically increase the replay value of certain games, because people would be going there back over and over again until they complete the entire checklist of achievements, trophies, or coins, whatever you would like to call it. So yes, it is always a competition. It is always Nintendo's always looking at it. And trust me, if Nintendo was first place out of everybody right now, they would be saying we are number one. Saying, basically saying that, yes, we have the other competitors, but we're currently winning over them. So it is always a competition. But Nintendo, or Reggie, what I believe he's doing is he's kind of tempering expectations, because the Nintendo Switch is still developing. They're still growing. There's still a new console compared to the PS4 and Xbox One, and not talking about the revisions, but and they're still finding their place. They're on their way to try to sell 20 million consoles on this fiscal year 2018. So they want to temper expectations before going head on with those companies, which they know that they cannot really, really necessarily do, because of the power gap in between the Switch and them and those others, especially when it comes to third-party games. Where you can see Assassin's Creed, Odyssey, and the only way that you can get on the Switch is by having it basically streamed from the internet. So there is a power gap. If he wants to say that, he's saying it for himself. He's saying it for the company itself. He's saying it for the investors and for I guess for PR purposes. But yes, there is direct competition. There always will be direct competition as long as they are out in the market. And at some point, he should technically address it. But like you said, there's tying back with the news that we just discussed about the new Nintendo Switch version. You were saying something about that Reggie and Nintendo, before going with a full-on upgrade, they want to see what Xbox One and what Microsoft and Sony are going to come out with, because we could see new consoles from them as soon as next year, I believe. I don't think this year is going to be, but next year, more than likely.
2020 in my head, but that's fine.
But yeah, it's always going to be a competition. They are competing because they are competing for your time, for your attention, for your money. Even though he doesn't really want to address it that way, but it is a competition.
The only thing I would like to add is I wish that Nintendo, again, would admit, and going back to the other statement about the reason why how they do voice chat is because they're Nintendo. They do things different. I wish Nintendo would take a little bit more of the blueprint. Now, Nintendo, give them credit. They're trying to innovate as much as they can, try to do some stuff that is different. But to their detriment on that mindset is that sometimes the blueprint is laid out on features that are simple, that honestly you don't need to be being innovative. What innovation brings you having a person take the phone and use an app on the phone and not use the voice chat on the Switch? But you have a phone there, you just call the person at that point. Admittedly, you have a bunch of strangers, you want to give them your phone, so the app at least works in that sense. But it's you having two items. A portable system means that you should have all that you need there with the Switch, right? And yeah, you can say, but you always carry your phone. No, I understand. But if you're playing games, you really want to waste your battery, of your phone battery, the moment that you're playing your Switch. So about Reggie's, that second comment, I just wanted to add, Reggie, you don't have much to say. Nintendo, they're a Japanese company. The Japanese executives make the decision. So you're just trying to defend the system the best way you can, why they did. Because I'll bet you, honestly, Reggie's probably thinking in his head, why in the hell we're just not doing voice chat on the Switch? I mean, we're doing it with Fortnite. It works great. Why are we not doing that, right? It's Reggie in his head is like, I know. But he works for Nintendo. He has to support the weird decisions that Nintendo makes sometimes. But, say it differently. Say, we just designed it this way. Just don't lay it out like, well, we're Nintendo. We like to do things different. Because Nintendo, honestly, there's blueprints there. Achievements, like Caleones just said. You should have achievements already. It helps. I bought games that I would never intend to play just because of achievements in my lifetime. Trust me. People like me are out there. They're not a few. There are a lot. So just look at what the competition has done and take simple features that you can implement and just implement Nintendo. I'm not asking you to stop being innovative. How can you innovate online? Trust me, putting an app is not innovating online to do voice chat. Just do innovation on your hardware and just do the features that the competition has laid out. Anything to add on that section, then we can move on.
Well, I mean, like you said, it is kind of like a no-brainer. When you have a system, especially when you have a system like the Switch, a portable Switch system that you're going to take with you, you don't really want to need any more attachments to get additional functionality out of the system. Yes, more than likely, someone that has a cell phone, or at least 90% of the people that own a cell phone, they take it with them, they carry it with them. There's people that have more than one cell phone, they carry it with them. So Nintendo does kind of expect most people to own a cell phone, and that's why they have the Nintendo Switch online application in the phone. But who is the system geared for? Yes, it is for adults, it is for teens, it is for kids. Do you really expect all those people to carry the applications with them? Even though you don't necessarily expect the kids to be talking with other people who are playing on the internet, depending on what age it is, but it is something that the system needs to have inside of it. You should not be required to have a separate device to get that functionality out of it. So Nintendo, try to do something. Try to find a way to put the voice chat inside the system itself. Try to find a way to add achievements or trophies into the system. Those are, the first one is a functionality that should already be there out of the box. The second one is something that, even though a lot of people say, oh, I don't like achievement, I don't like trophies, I don't do any of that, but there are millions of people out there that they notice it, that they buy games that they never would buy just because they can get an achievement or platinum out of it. I'm pretty sure Dantes can tell you that there are certain games that he would have never played, but because of the promise of getting a platinum trophy, he probably bought them and he played them because he is, quote unquote, a trophy hunter.
Trophy whore.
Yeah. Or, I wouldn't say exactly like that, but yes, there are certain things that Nintendo can do better on the system, and even, Netflix, web browser, YouTube, those things that you expect to have on a tablet, and if you have it on the Switch, you don't really need to be carrying a tablet on that. You need additional applications that the system cannot offer you, but those things should be standard on the system. They are not. It's been over a year since it already came out, and they're still not there. We were expecting them to be there, like already by some point, or at least when the paid online came out, but still, Nintendo still needs to do better. The system can definitely be improved. Yes, it has amazing games to play. Yes, the whole portable factor is something unique that you cannot get on the other, with the other systems, but still, there is always room for improvement. We're not going to sugarcoat it. If there's something that can be improved, we're going to say it. For as much as we love a company, and as much as we want to say, oh, they're number one, there's nobody better than them, they're the best ones out of all of them, we're not really going to cover our eyes and say it like that. We're always going to try to find ways that our favorite companies can learn, can improve, and can get better for their sake, but also for ours and for our experience with them. So, yes, hopefully they'll change and they'll add those at some point.
Okay, thank you, Caleones, for that. But with that, I'm going to move with the last hot topic because we're 44 minutes in already, so I'm going to try to keep it short. But I wanted to give my early impressions. I did something similar when I played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, give my early impressions. And the original early impressions were like, it was a little bit rough, but I'm getting over that curve. And, of course, when I got over that curve, it turned out to be one of my favorite Switch games last year. So I'm going to do the same thing with Torna The Golden Country. Here's some gameplay while I speak about it. But I wanted to start with Golden Torna as a DLC per se. So, admittedly, I already put like 20 hours, Caleones, in this DLC. So you say 20 hours. Oh my God, that is a lot of hours to get on a basically expansion pack. I mean, different gamers play differently. I know some people did rush through the game and they said that they could beat the story in 20 hours. I'm maybe, I don't think I'm halfway, but maybe, less than halfway there to end the game. But I will say that the way I played, I'm getting a lot of this DLC, Caleones, because how I play is I like to explore. I like to see if I find new treasure chests. I like to try to learn the battle system. I like to see if I can find the strongest monsters and fight them. And this game, the gameplay itself, the battle system is a little bit different. Trust me, you can't take the same thought process as you took in playing Xenoblade Chronicles, and you'll think it's gonna work here. It's not gonna work. You're gonna have to switch your mindset a little bit. I'll get into a little bit more details for that. But in going back to time, I think I'm getting a lot of this value. I like how they designed the Torna Titan. It's a vast, big world to explore. There's a lot of secrets in there. You also go to Gormoth, which is the same Titan that you played in the original Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but there's some changes that make it feel a little bit different. So it's not exactly the same, but there's new monsters, new areas to explore, and secrets to find, even in Gormoth, that makes it feel like its own new area to play, right? So I have to say the world itself, awesome. I like exploring. And like I said, the way I played, I already getting a lot of it. I like to do the side quests. I think I like the side quest structure in this game. And I know a lot of people were complaining when they were playing the story that you have to do side quests to continue the story. There's points in the game that they're going to tell you, oh, we need to do side quests to improve our community. And then I'll get to community soon. But there's a point in the game that basically they said, oh, it's better to expand our community. We need to help some people. And because I was already doing it, Caleones, the game quickly went to the next cutscene and the next story element, because that's how I played. So I didn't even have to go back and play and get side quests done and expand my community, because I was already in the level required at that point in the game. So to me, I'm playing like the game wants me to, and some people play differently. I'm not going to deny that. But to me, that makes my enjoyment of the DLC high, because I like to do side quests. I like to expand and get my character stronger. It's an RPG. Again, you like to make your character stronger. Going back also about the quest structure, I like the community system. So basically how the community system works is you talk to NPCs. Once you talk to the NPC, even if he doesn't have a quest, that their face will go into the area. Like, give you an example. If you talk to an NPC in Gormoth, that little face will fall in the Gormoth area. Now, at some point, the NPC could have a quest. So then, once you go to communities, you're gonna see a question mark on their face. That means they have a quest for you. You go back to the NPC, do their quest, and once you do their quest, then they come into your community, and that expands your community level. Basically, you're a mercenary group, and you're kind of expanding your ranks with different people to make your army, I guess, stronger in a sense. That's how the community system works. And I always thought that the original Xenoblade Chronicles, the affinity system where you did the same, you talk to the NPCs and the NPC face will show up, and then as you complete a quest, you would unite affinity with those characters and make them happy between themselves, make them, work or make them relationship, expand their relationship, multiple things, multiple different things. But I like the community system because it kind of took away from the need of the affinity system. Make sure that all the dots are connected, and then you make that big spider web of all the NPCs connected between each other, because that is stuff on the original Xenoblade Chronicles. But I like community system because it's like a simpler version, Caleones, of that. It is more like you talk to the NPC, he has quests, and then you bring them to your community. I do still miss about the NPCs in the original Xenoblade having their own time. So like in the original Xenoblade, some NPCs would not show up at certain times in the day, Caleones. You had to talk to them at noon. You had to talk to them at 1 o'clock. There was a specific time frames. You had to learn the NPC schedule. So that make the world feel alive in the original Xenoblade. This one is more straightforward. The NPCs there always. You talk to them whatever time in the day. But it's a good compromise, Caleones. So you don't need to do that much, to make it complicated. Because I think that's tough programming too. So I have to say big props to the community system, liking it. Now let's go to gameplay. Going back to gameplay, we talk about how you have to have a different mindset. I think I'm pretty level up, and I went to a fight with Malos. I was like 3 levels higher than him. In the old Xenoblade, 3 levels higher would be enough for me to kick his ass, Caleones. He kicked my ass a couple of times. He defeated me a couple of times. Like, wait, what the hell am I doing? So in this battle system, it's quicker in a sense, right? Because if you remember, you had to do a blade combo, a full level 3 blade combo to put the elemental orb around the monster, right? In this case, you can put the elemental orb as soon as you do blade combo level 1, blade combo level 2, and blade combo level 3. Let me explain. So let's just say you do electricity blade combo number 1. You do a wind blade combo number 2, and then you do fire and blade combo number 3. Those 3 orbs can get stuck in one section of blade combos. So what that means is the monsters get stronger faster. So you need to be aware of that. So you need to try to pull out those blade combos faster if you can, and put those orbs so then you can do a chain attack and really do some damage. The problem is that the pouch items, which in the other game would give you buffs like, specials would level up faster, or arts would level up faster, and then you can use the arts to increase your specials. It's not as easy as buying them like in the original Xenoblade Chronicles 2. In this game, you build them on your camp, where based on the items that you pick, you create items. And then those good items, like I said, in a special 0.8 seconds increase, which is great. And I use stuff like that on the original game. It's harder to put on your characters because then you could have sometimes not the right items to build the pouch item that you need to be able to be buff. So then the game is almost like a little bit of survival in that sense, Caleones. So you better be picking up those items or those item collector spots and get as much as you can, because if you really want to, build those pouch items to use them in battle, you're going to need every item that you can find, trust me. So, and we're back. Hey, we're back. So anyway, going back to the gameplay, like I said, level 1, level 2, level 3, you could get the elemental or put them in there. So it is faster. It asks you to be faster. In the original Xenoblade 2, you could do, based on blade combos, the strong attacks could be evaded easier, because you could say, let's just say Malos would do Monado Cyclone, right? Which he does in this game. And I know he's about to pull it. And I had a Blade 3 combo ready to roll. I activated the Blade 3, and while my Blade was doing the Blade 3 combo, he would try the attack and he would not hit me, right? Because he was doing the special cutscene or cinema that we would do when you put a Blade 3 combo. So in this case, you have to think faster. And also, you have to think, there's 2 ways of fighting. You have the vanguard and then the rear, basically. And then the vanguard is basically the person who is on front fighting. So you could have your driver and have the 2 blades, and then the driver would be doing the attacks, right? But then if you get hit with a big attack, your health would go down, but it still would look like a red bar, kind of like a fighting game where you would play Marvel versus Capcom, and then you would switch to your next character quickly, so then the bar would stay there. It's the same. You want to switch to your blade, and then that would get you your health back. And at the same time, you would use the blade in battle, and each blade has its own arts to use. So it's really interesting how this dynamic of driver and blade in this gameplay feels totally different compared to the original game. So you could ask me which one I like better. I don't know, because I don't think I have fully have my grasp on the battle system. I think I'm doing pretty well. But I don't have all the tools yet to say, okay, is this better battle system than the original Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which I have stated, in my opinion, is the greatest RPG battle system of all time in my head, right? So, again, it is different. So why does the developer would go into those lengths and change the battle system that much in a DLC? You would say that's crazy. Why would they do that? And a simple change like that, like be able to use driver and blades specifically, just change the battle system completely, Caleones. So a lot of props. I do like the gameplay a lot. Let me clarify. I just want to finish the game first before I give my full, thumbs up. And then story and music. I'm not touching on them both because I'm already going a little bit there, 55 minutes in. But story and music. Story, as of now, I like it. Basically, this music, this story, sorry, it's kind of like more James and Laura's story. You kind of see their struggles. You kind of see why they had that type of relationship. The Jin did what he did on the original Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It really explains, and now I understand, because if there's something about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that is struggle on the story was that the flashbacks did not help or expand the story. There's a character named Hayes. Something happens in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm not going to say. And when that happened, I was like, okay, who cares? Because I have no attachment to that character. There's no character development. Now with this DLC, I'm seeing character development for Hayes. Give you an example. I'm like, okay, now it makes a little bit more special that what happened in that character on the main game. And also, I have to give credit. Adam, in the original story, he was only like a shadowy figure. We know he was the hero. Cool character. Love Adam. Basically, I love this bunch of characters like Adam, Mithra, Jin, Hayes, Laura. Love those characters. Now, admittedly, Bridget and Aegeon shows up. They're not expanded that well, but because you had some expansion on them on the original game, and their king, which is he's basically the more ordained king of this game. I forgot his name right now, but cool character. It's just that I think that's the less developed of them. Is that group of characters, and Bridget doesn't do much, so it's sad because I like Bridget, but admittedly, overall, I like this band of characters a lot. And music, they even make new music for this game, Caleones. Not a huge fan of the new music, I admit it, but I'm not a fan of jazz. It's more of a jazzy feel. This music in the new Xenoblade, still cool. The battle system is pretty cool. The battle music is really good. And there's some returning favorites. You won't be disappointed. And the new Gormoth remix with the jazzy feel, it's cool too. It's just I still like the original song better. But anyway, that was a lot. I guess in summary is I'm liking the DLC a lot, Caleones. I am enjoying it a lot. There's been some good moments, and I think the story is gonna get to an area where there's gonna be some sad parts, basically based on what I know of the main game. But props up. Monolith Soft, I don't know what to tell you. You guys rock. You guys did an awesome expansion, and I don't know how you guys do it. I'm telling you guys already recruiting for new RPGs. I don't know what's next from you guys, but I'll be there day one. And thinking about it, because we have had 2 Xenoblade games. We have had 3 Xenoblade games, basically, in less than 4 years, Caleones. I love this franchise. Is my favorite Nintendo franchise. But I have to say that I think it's time for Monolith Soft. The next game has to be something totally different, not Xenoblade. Leave Xenoblade rest a little bit and then come back strong with the next Xenoblade whenever you guys are ready. But I think the next game should be a new IP. But anyway, that's it, Caleones. I don't know if you have any questions to ask before we move.
Well, I guess one of the questions that I would ask you is, once you finish the Torna The Golden Country, do you plan on going back to Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and maybe playing through the story one more time to see how the dots connect? Like you said that some of the characters that you meet on Xenoblade Chronicles 2 you may not have gotten to know enough of, or that you just saw a brief history of them. Now that you're seeing them expanded and how everything ties up, do you plan on maybe doing one more playthrough through the main story?
So as I play with Torna, I've been struggling with that, Caleones, admittedly, because I want to do it, but at the same time, I got so much games to do, and I don't have the same time. So the question that I'm fighting in my head, do I play Xenoblade Chronicles again, New Game Plus, do all this stuff again, right? That's the one part that I'm like, oh my God, doing all those quests again. Or should I just leave it there? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that yet, Caleones, because I would like to do it. It's just I don't have the same time, and I really want to play some games too that I have. And we have this channel, of course, which takes time to away too. So I haven't decided yet. Is there an itch to go back and play Xenoblade Chronicles 2 again? Yes, there's an itch, but I think if I play it again, it's gonna be another 150 hours to 200 hours, Caleones. do I have it in me? Or do I just play Xenoblade Chronicles 2 again, but play it piece by piece? Just take one day of the week and say, this day I'm only going to play Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I never done well in playing multiple games at the same time. I'm thinking about that too, but that means that do I grasp the story? Because really you want to play as much as you can quickly, so everything that you did in Torna The Golden Country is fresh as you play with, the original Xenoblade Chronicles. So I haven't decided, but the itch is there. It's just, am I willing to spend another 200 hours in Xenoblade, which I already spent close to 400 hours on the original game? That's a tough question there.
Okay, so, well, I guess just to, were we supposed to have only 2 main topics today, and then
talk about the impression? That's it. So we're done basically.
Okay, so then I'll go quickly, and I'll rearrange how the stories were lined up from how you sent me. So very next one is going to be, and this is going to be from.
Wait, quickly. Let me do the segments. You have to switch the segments. You know how it is.
Okay.
So we're done with hot topics. I appreciate Caleones for joining me, but it's time to move on, and let's go to Anuma's Newspers. And go ahead, Caleones, with the first piece of news.
Okay, and I went ahead and shuffled it a little bit because this one ties directly to what you were talking about, and it is that Xenoblade Chronicles developer Monolith Soft has a job posting for a new RPG project. So what the new RPG project could be? That's the main question, because you already have them, finishing the DLC expansion and everything from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and they're going to be jumping on to what could be, and you can choose your pick: Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Xenoblade Chronicles X port, Xenoblade Chronicles X2, or a brand new IP from them. So what is your expectations? What do you think we're going to see next from Monolith Soft, Dantes?
So I think it's going to be, I think they're going to focus on the new IP. Takahashi has been trying to let the team develop internally, right? And he thinks, he sees the future. He can be leading a company and also leading, like he does with Xenoblade, being the main story writer and stuff like that. He's not the director, to clarify. Other people has been the director, but he's still the executive director. So he still has a lot to say in Xenoblade Chronicles too. So it's tough. So what is that balance? So I believe, in my head, my preference would be that they do a new IP. And they also work on Xenoblade Chronicles X, right? 2, not the port, 2. And then my dream would be that they have a small team working on a Xenoblade Chronicles, the original remake type of deal, where you get the same type of, graphics, but then make the improvements that you did on Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and bring them to the next game. Give you simple improvements. Give you an example. That you can go to the inn and level down. That you can deposit all the experience that you get from quests, and they don't go quickly and you level up. They just put in like a bank. And like in the Torna The Golden Country, to give you an example, I could be right now level 51 if I take all the experience that I have bank from quests and give them to me while you go into the inn, right? I haven't done that. I'm just leveling up as I play the game because I don't want to be too over level and the game becomes too easy, right? That's how you expand your knowledge of your battle system. Is when the battle system is a little bit tougher. It makes you change your strategies. So that's where I would like to see those minor improvements from the original game, right? From Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and bring those improvements to the original Chronicles, and bring this. You have a new audience right now. That events happen on Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that if you played the original, they would have had way more impact than you didn't. And for me, that elevated the original story higher, thanks because I played the original Chronicles. So I would like the new generation of people, like RX Gaming. He said in a podcast when he was invited like 2 weeks ago, he said, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is my first RPG and I like it. I love it a lot. Dude, awesome. We need new fans. Welcome to the club. Bring the original one so people can connect the dots from Chronicles 2 to Chronicles 1 and bring it to a new generation. Make those new improvements and make it better. That would be my dream, Caleones. I don't know if they'll do it, but that would be my dream.
Yeah, and I mean, like we already saw, Shock is on the on Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Yeah, so
Fiora.
and Fiora is also on there. So you already have some of the characters from Xenoblade Chronicles redesigned under the new art style or the new engine of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So yes, you already got the blueprint, you already got the story, you already have the voice acting, you already have everything. So it would be more so like a cosmetic change on how the game looks.
Well, it's still
How you
tough.
can,
It's a lot of work. If what
yeah,
I'm asking of them in putting in a new engine, it's a lot of
mm,
work. Creating all the world from scratch is a lot of work, and then asking for the improvements, like I just stated, it is work. It's not that easy. But you have the voice acting, and you do have the story blueprint. So at least you don't have to kill yourself writing a new story and changing stuff. But
yeah, but something that we do know for a fact is that around 40 people from Monolith Soft were the ones that worked on Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
that's what I'm saying. Small
Everybody
team could do
else,
that.
yeah, everybody else was helping on Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and they still were able to make a brand new game 2 years after Xenoblade Chronicles X came out. So I don't know what they do, but they make an amazing job in a short time. And if they had the full team, and they have been hiring more people, so it's not just the people that they had for Zelda and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. They've hired more people into the team. The team is getting bigger, so that tells you that they may be working on certain things like a port of Xenoblade Chronicles X plus Xenoblade Chronicles X2 or Chronicles 3 or a brand new game. So they could be working, on more than one project at the same time. They've already showed that they can do it and that they can have quality games coming out and coming out fast. So I am confident that if we do not see a Xenoblade Chronicles X port first, then we're probably going to see the sequel X2 with an expanded online, which is what I really want, because I want us to jump into that game on our Force In Unison streams on Saturday, so we can go together and do the missions and things like that, battling the big beasts or whatever it is, the case may be. Kind of like how we used to do with Phantasy Star Online. So
Well, we're gonna have that experience a little bit. We're thinking, peeps, that we may do Final Fantasy 15, get into a big RPG. But I'm not playing Final Fantasy 14. I'm not doing that. But maybe Final Fantasy 15 could, do like Phantasy Star Online and, crave that itch. I guess you could put it of us playing like a big RPG, right? But yeah, no, I understand, Caleones. We'll see. I just, at least as a new game per se, let me say new game, I don't want a new Xenoblade Chronicles right now. I want them to do a new IP if they can. And maybe it's like a big online RPG too, right? Because RPG, they learn from X, and they're taking that and making their own Final Fantasy 14, but more streamlined. I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles always felt like an MMO, like an offline MMO in a sense. The original one, and X, more X, But if you do that battle system streamline and you don't kill people with grinding and stuff like that, kind of like what Monster Hunter did with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, make something that is typically complicated, make it more casual, and make it more online friendly. And look at the crowds that they got. So can Monolith Soft, if I trust a company that could do something like that, would be Monolith Soft, and maybe the new IP, something like that, and that would be great. That way I can play it and join the community. I'm not a big on multiplayer guy. It's rare games that it gets me hooked, like Last of Us and Ghostbusters got me hooked of playing online. But I would happy to play like a type of RPG with this type of battle system, in an online setting. We shall see. So.
Okay, so going over with the next piece of news, and this is that Square Enix is supposedly trying to see if they can get Kingdom Hearts 3 over on the Nintendo Switch. This is something that they mentioned. It's not like for certain or anything like that, but they're really interested in getting a game, of course, on the Switch, which is a system that has found a lot of success ever since it came out last year. So it's no surprise that they're going to say something like that. What I would say is that if they're thinking about doing this, then they probably should be thinking about releasing the collection that they just announced first, the one that is collecting all the games from the first Kingdom Hearts over to the last one before the third one comes out. I think it's that collection of probably like 8 games or 9 games or something like that. So what do you think about the possibility of having Kingdom Hearts 3 and maybe the other games from the collection on the Nintendo Switch, Dantes?
So I honestly believe, and this is, I know that a lot of people say I'm an Xbox hater, but I'm gonna put it this way, and I'm not doing it in a way to throw shades at Xbox. I believe that Nintendo deserves more the Kingdom Hearts franchise than the Xbox, and that includes Kingdom Hearts 3. And the reason I'm saying that is that Xbox have not seen a release of any Kingdom Hearts game at all, and they're getting Kingdom Hearts 3. But Nintendo has been key on the side story, like Dream Drop Distance, like the card game. I forgot the game. Like 529 Days, whatever. Those weird title, weird ass titles. You know, the Game Boy Advance, DS, 3DS. Every generation of handheld have had a Kingdom Hearts game, and the problem is it's not like a side story. Those stories are important. Dream Drop Distance, to give you guys a heads up, is important to the story. That's why that game is on the collection, the PlayStation collection, that have all the Kingdom Hearts games, because it is an important story, and it is a good Kingdom Hearts game. You should be playing that game, to clarify, right? So Nintendo has been key in getting Kingdom Hearts. Now, why are we not getting a Switch port for Kingdom Hearts? Square has sold really well with Switch. I honestly think with this new relationship they have with Nintendo that they're looking into it. They couldn't do Final Fantasy 15 because probably Final Fantasy 15 with the Luminous engine was harder to port down. But you know what's Kingdom Hearts 3? You know what engine is running in? Unreal Engine 4. And you know that porting Unreal Engine 4, like people like Bluepoint has shown us, is that the Switch can handle and has been successful in porting down. So Kingdom Hearts 3, in my opinion, should come to the Nintendo Switch. Now, the collection itself with all the games, that's a little bit tougher because those games were recreated from the PlayStation generation. I don't know if there's issues with the engine or X, Y, and Z, but at a minimum, Caleones, at a minimum, Nintendo fans deserve to have Kingdom Hearts 3 on the Switch.
Yeah, and just running through the list of different games. Okay, so we have the original Kingdom Hearts coming out in PlayStation 2. Then we have Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance. Kingdom Hearts 2 on PlayStation 2. Then we had Kingdom Hearts Coded on mobile phones. Kingdom Hearts 352 Days on the DS. Yeah. Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep on the PlayStation Portable. Yep. Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance on the 3DS. And then we have Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 Remix on the PlayStation 3. Yeah, we had the other remakes on the PlayStation 3. And the last ones, the last remakes on the PlayStation 4. So all of them basically have been alternating when it comes to handhelds or consoles in between the Sony and Nintendo consoles and portables. Only, like you said, the Kingdom Hearts 3 is the only one that's going to be featured on the Xbox One. They haven't even announced the collection for the Xbox. So, I mean, if you're going to release Kingdom Hearts 3 on the Xbox, then you might as well release the collection as well, so everybody can catch up and then get the other one. So, but no, that's not the case. It's going to be on 3 on there. And like you said, you make a really good point because the Unreal Engine 4 has already been optimized for the Switch. So in theory, they could essentially make the games, the Kingdom Hearts 3 for the Switch. Like you said, Final Fantasy 15, it is the Luminous engine. It is an engine that they basically use only for Final Fantasy 15 and not really any other game, for the expansion and things like that. And Final Fantasy 14 is kind of like a mixture of game engines on there. So it could technically at some point make it over to the Switch. But when it comes to Kingdom Hearts 3, they already have there's already a big Nintendo fan base that has the game, that has played them before on Nintendo consoles. So if anybody should be playing that, of course, it's going to be on the PlayStation because that's where it first came out, but also on a Nintendo system. So hopefully it does happen at some point.
Agreed. Go ahead with the next one, Kyle.
Okay, going over with the next piece of news, and this is that Skybound will release The Walking Dead, the final season's last episodes, and they're also going to work with the members of the original Telltale team. So, this is really good news because, of course, Telltale, they are going into bankruptcy. They fired everybody from their team. They had certain people that were going to stay behind to work on The Walking Dead, but then they fired those people as well. So they basically canceled The Walking Dead, which is going to be the final season. They were not going to make it, but now we have Skybound. Not only are they going to be finishing the game, but they're also going to be getting some of the developers from Telltale's into their team so they can work from it. So I mean, this is kind of like it's bittersweet because we know how the game industry has been this year. I think it's been anywhere from probably like close to 10 companies that have closed shop in 2018, and a lot of people that have been let go. So it was really sad to hear Telltale close their doors, especially for all those people that ended up losing their jobs. But at least some of them will get to continue to work on the game, finish it, and that especially that they have found another home. What do you think about how this has happened?
Just quick, because this is news burst. I'm happy for it, but at the same time, I'm hopeful that the money that they get is to pay the employees' severance packages, the ones that they let go with nothing, Caleones, because that is the sad part of this story. So I'm hopeful that is the case. If they do it that way, then I'm okay with it. If they don't do it that way, then they should not finish The Walking Dead. But we shall see.
Okay, going over with the next piece of news, and this is Reggie Fils-Aimé talking about VR and how Nintendo's take on it. To GeekWire Summit at Seattle's at Seattle Summit. This was last Wednesday. So from his quote, he said, "When asked about technologies we might see from Nintendo in the future, Fils-Aimé responded to a specific question about augmented and virtual reality possibilities. After reminding the crowd about Nintendo's history with the Virtual Boy and AR cards featured baked into the 3DS, he offered the most intriguing official line from the company yet. And end quote. This is something we constantly think about experimenting with. For virtual reality, we've said it's tech that we're looking at, but in the end, it has to be fun. That's our mission, and that is what we do arguably better than anyone else. We have nothing to announce here on this stage. There are going to be technologies that we'll continue to experiment with. There are new experiences we want to bring to life. So yes, this is always that they're going to be something that they're going to be thinking about. VR is already out there with the PSVR, with the Oculus Rift, with the with the Vive. Now they're with smartphones as well, so they have the Google Cardboard and things like that. So VR is out there. For me, it still hasn't found that killer app that is gonna kind of like justify VR, to a next level point. But for Nintendo, I'm just gonna make it easier for you. Just get a headset for the Nintendo Switch so you can slide it in. Make all the Virtual Boy games available for it because those are games that are easy to make on the Nintendo Switch screen. Collect all of them, send them, sell them as part of a package, and you already have VR out of the box with 2 Joy-Cons and everything. So that's gonna be what we can do with the Switch right now. Granted, the Switch doesn't have a strong enough screen to be able to have VR games like the PSVR and things like that. So that's something that will have to wait until maybe a new revision or until they have like an additional adapter, not using the Switch screen, but a headset itself. But the easiest thing they can do is the Virtual Boy. So what is your take on this, Dantes?
So quickly, Koopa Coops, what is up? Long time no see. Welcome to the stream. So I will say this. Nintendo, don't listen to Caleones because you get bankrupt. Listen to me more. Stay away from the Virtual Boy. Don't even bring that crap again. No one wants to see red games. VR is in a whole new level. So you don't want to bring the Virtual Boy. Leave it dead. It is dead.
Everything they're bringing to the Switch is selling. If they bring the Virtual Boy, it will sell.
Yeah. No one wants to play red looking sprites, Caleones. Anyway, second, I'll say this. Nintendo, if you're not ready, don't do anything with VR. I know you're evaluating technologies, right? But if there's a company who could do virtual reality on the cheap and then still be impactful, and I'm going to bring an example, so I'm giving Nintendo credit. The 3DS, right? They were able to do 3D without glasses, right? And on a small screen. I think acceptable. I mean, it's not perfect, but it was a cheap way to do 3D where companies like Sony were trying to promote 3D on them TV and their consoles, right? During the 3D craze, Nintendo was able to find a way to do it on their new console on the cheap, on a way that it was accessible for people to play it. So if there's someone who can make VR accessible and find a technology out there that can make it cheap, could be Nintendo. So you could have two. You can have the low-end virtual reality way to play with Nintendo, and then you can have the high-end because I'm assuming that Sony will improve on their VR, and next generation their VR is gonna be even better. So
Yeah, just thanks for trying to destroy my dream. I'm still gonna be dreaming about the Virtual Boy on the Switch. It is doable with what they have right now. It can be done. Nintendo, do it. I'm telling you, I will be the first one in line to buy it, and I'm not gonna be the only one in line. But going over with the next piece of news, and this is it's kind of like a pretty big event. There's actually a new Splatfest for Splatoon. It's called Splatoon, and it's gonna be a big holiday event. How big is it gonna be? Well, the event is gonna be starting. It's gonna start on the 19th of October, and it's lasting all the way to the 21st. So it's gonna be a whole 48 hours of Splatfest for teams, trick or treat. So those are going to be your two options. So this is something that Nintendo actually hasn't done, or for Splatoon during the Switch era. Basically, all the Splatfests have been essentially like 24 hours long, or I believe one was like a day and a half or so. But you have to go all the way back to the Wii U Splatoon, the original one, for Splatfest that would last longer than 24 hours. So this is going to be, like I said, there's a big event. There's special download codes that you can get, so you can get certain costumes for your character, and it's going to be from the 19th until the 21st of October. So everybody get a jump on it. Once it starts, Force In Unison is definitely going to be in there. Inkling G is going to play Splatoon 2 and celebrate Splatoon with everybody that comes over to our channel.
I'll say this. Not much. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Splatoon, but that could be a Force In Unison stream. We can have everybody from Force In Unison play Splatoon. I haven't played Splatoon since, I think, when we did the tournament was the last time I did.
Are you still undefeated, or how?
Yeah, sure. I'm undefeated. Yeah, I remember. I don't remember losing. Anyway, so you know what? I'll say this, Caleones. Let's do a Force In Unison stream for Splatoon or whatever it's called. And we'll have everybody from Force In Unison there, and we'll have a good time, and we'll fight between each others, and again, the subs. So we'll have a good time.
Okay, so going over to the next piece of news, and I know we're not really talking about much like this one because it is a rumor, people. It is a rumor. There's nothing confirmed right now, but there's actually talk out there that the new Animal Crossing game could arrive as early as Q1 2019. Q1 2019 was that basically in between the months of January, February, and March. So what are your thoughts about this rumor? Do you think there's a chance for Animal Crossing to be released between the first 3 months of the year in 2019?
It probably released 2019 because they said 2019 on their trailer, right? I don't. It's so first quarter of next year just looks rough for all the companies. The competition is rough. If I was Nintendo, I would not get in there. Animal Crossing just call out like a perfect summer game. A game that you're spending your summer and you're out of school and the kids are just playing and building their village and crap like that. So to me, Animal Crossing is perfect. Now, I do want Nintendo to make sure they don't put Luigi's Mansion in the first quarter of next year because I'll whoop that ass. Because I want Luigi's Mansion to sell as much as possible. So keep it out of the first quarter, Nintendo. But Animal Crossing, to me, just calls out to be the perfect summer game.
Yeah, I really don't think we're going to see anything early next year because I believe that if Nintendo had the game far enough in development for it to be out in between January and March of next year, then we would have seen something already. Like, we've already seen a lot from the new Yoshi game, and we still have no idea when it's going to be coming out, except for they did say 2019, but that game seems to have that to be done already. It seems like it could have been released this year, but they're holding it perhaps so they can fill certain months of next year. What I will tell you is this: Nintendo, they expect to sell those 20 million units in fiscal year 2018. They do have Mario Party coming out this month. It already came out, but they really have like the big pushers, the big system sellers. Pokemon Let's Go in November, Smash Brothers Ultimate in December. If it feels like they may or may not be getting to the 20 million mark Investors are not going to be happy. There's if they announce that they actually undersold from what they really, their expectations were, then they're going to take a hit when it comes to the company, valuation, stocks, and everything. So maybe they are far along in this games to the point where they could release it if they feel like they're not going to get there, to try to push even more consoles and get to that 20 million console plateau. So I don't know if that's going to be the case.
But they don't need to, Caleones, though. They have Pokemon and Smash in the late, fourth quarter of this year. So, and the physical year ends in March. Will
March
Animal
31st.
Crossing? Sorry.
Yeah, March 31st is the
would
end.
Animal Crossing even make that? I don't know. I would prefer to play the long game, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that even if they don't get to 20 million, if they sell something like 18, 19, I mean, that's still big. Right now, they're doing PS4 numbers basically. So they're keeping head on with the PS4. There's a possibility that with those, with that late push of those two games, they may even surpass the PS4 numbers for the year. So I think they are okay, but they're certainly building 2019 to be an awesome year if the games that should be releasing do end up releasing. So yeah, we'll see what happens. They did say Animal Crossing 2019, so it is coming out next year. We just don't know when. But anything else you want to say?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so the next one, and I don't know how to feel about. Well, actually, I know how I feel about this one. It is that Capcom did confirm that there is a Monster Hunter movie in the works. Why I'm not excited about this, because of the person attached to it, which is Paul W.S. Anderson, who's going to be directing it. So tell us who Paul W.S. Anderson is.
He's the director of Resident Evil games, Resident Evil movies, sorry. But he's married to Mila Djokovic, so hey, props to you, man. But aside from that, not much props after that, so.
Well, I mean, I would say if they were to tell me that instead of Paul W.S. Anderson, that it was Paul Thomas Anderson directing the movie, then I would be doing cartwheels, backflips, and celebrating because, the quality of Paul Thomas Anderson's movie are in a whole nother level. But I've been disappointed with the Resident Evil movies. They basically been a vehicle for Mila Jovanovic, or I don't know exactly what her name is. I loved her in The Fifth Element. First Resident Evil movie, it was okay, but then everything went downhill afterwards. So, and I don't know how exactly this is gonna work, but they did say, and I don't know. I mean, I don't see the synopsis of the game, of the movie itself. But what they said is that something along the lines of they find somebody in this planet. There's going to be monsters that could end up destroying the planet, and this hero comes along and he's transported over to that world to save it.
Mila.
So yeah, so it sounds like
Mila's gonna be the hero,
like that Dungeons and Dragon movie with one of the Wayans brothers. Yeah.
Don't worry, not interesting. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, it's video game movies have not really been that good, or actually none of them at all, except for the original Mortal Kombat. I'll give you that one. Go watch it again.
Yeah, exactly. Go watch it again.
Okay, and going over with the next piece of news, and it just keeps on going than this. They also made an announcement that there's a new Mega Man live action movie that is in the works. So now we have the Monster Hunter movie, we have the Mega Man movie, we have the Sonic live action movie, we have the Detective Pikachu movie coming out. So I mean, there's bound to be a good movie out of those at some point, right? So how do you feel about a Mega Man live action movie, Dantes?
As long as the actor doesn't look like the guy in the cover from the original Mega Man 1 NES, how you call it, frame from the game, right? You guys know. Whoever's old school know what I'm saying right now, right? The cover of the game was rough. It was rough. And he looked like an old fart, just dressed like a astronaut with a cannon of an arm. So as long as they don't do that, I don't know. Who cares? I think this would be better if it was like a CG type of movie, in my opinion, not a live action one. But right now, I mean, Hollywood just doesn't know how to do. We could be in an era where it took them a while to figure out comic book movies, and now they figure it out. Maybe it just takes a while to figure out video games movie, and then video game movies could become the next Marvel in the future. I don't know.
Yeah, and not to forget about it, but there is of course a Super Mario movie in the works as well by Illumination, the people behind.
But that's cartoon.
Yeah.
At least that's
Yeah, it
CG,
is.
which makes
Yeah,
more
it is.
sense.
Yeah, but the ones that made Despicable Me and Minions, so they're the ones working on it. So that has a better chance of being a good movie, especially with what we saw from how they use the cinemas and animations from Super Mario Odyssey and from Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. So it does give me pretty good hope on those. But Dantes, the last piece of news is that now this is like Microsoft, they hit it out of the park when they went over to Mojang and they bought Minecraft, because now Minecraft has more than 90 million monthly active users, and it is the second best-selling game of all time. They also said that they don't expect to release Minecraft 2, because then at that point they'll be fragmenting their player base and separating it in two different games. So we may never see a sequel to Minecraft. So what do you think about Minecraft, about it being the second best-selling game ever, and about perhaps not ever seeing a sequel to it?
Meh. Not much to say, dude. I don't care about Minecraft, so meh. Good for Microsoft. They know how they know how to build an IP. Oh wait, they just bought it. They never built it from the ground up. I'm sorry, I just forgot about that. But yeah, good for them for buying an existing IP. It's just making money out of it. Good for them.
Well, I mean, you could technically say the same thing about Monolith Soft and Nintendo.
Yeah, but when they were bought and Nintendo owns a share, they act like the Pokemon company. All those IP were built under Nintendo umbrella. Minecraft was never built, and I'm saying the IP was never built in the Microsoft umbrella like a Microsoft developer. It was just bought, and the person who came up with Minecraft left with a lot of money. Trust me, so I ain't crying for him. But
they would have left with a whole lot more money if they would have kept it.
No, the guy didn't want to. How much money is how much money? Like at that point, the money that he got was I want to say it this way: fuck you money. You know what fuck you money is, Caleones? No,
no.
Fuck you money basically is money that you have so much money that you can tell people to fuck off, and then you just don't care. So he got enough money to retire and live in an island and buy 20 islands if he wants.
Well, do you know how much money he got for Minecraft?
Like 200 million or something like that?
No, he actually got 2.5 billion.
Oh, my bad. That's more FU money. Just saying. Anyway, guys, it's an hour and a half. We extended too much, so we're not gonna do Chiguero's Supermarket today. It's just too much. But you can say the game of the week. I think it's Mega Man 11, right? No denying all that.
Well, I mean, there's Mario Party, Super Mario Party as well. It's out there this week.
Yeah.
No, actually, Super Mario Party has been doing great. Like, I think it is the best reviewed game since the original Mario Party game on the Nintendo 64. So you can go with either or.
Mega Man 11. Yeah. I think there's no denying it. Anyway, I know we went fast at the end there. Sorry, guys. It's just we've been an hour and a half. It's time to end the show. But let's put that Xenoblade music there. There we go. I want to thank everybody for stopping by and watching the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast, episode 64, right here at the Force In Unison Gaming channel. Please remember to subscribe, like, comment, and hit that bell so you can make these two crazy MFs happy. Also remember, if you don't want to see ugly faces, we got a solution for you. Go to SoundCloud and iTunes and download this podcast for free. Rate us over there so you can just live. Also, go to the description box below so you can see the full channel schedule. Remember, Monday, PlayStation Monday, Wednesday, Nintendo Wednesday, Friday, Fortnite Friday, Saturday, Force In Unison streams, and of course Sunday, this beautiful show. Also, Facebook page at Force In Unison Gaming. And finally, and Dantes says finally, go to forceinunison.wordpress.com and give some clicks and love to my boy Caleones. With all that said, Thank you again for joining us. And long live Nintendo. See you, everybody.